We know that most of the readings during Lent are somber and sober. They're chosen to deliberately get us thinking about our relationship with God, our neighbor, and ourself. Today's are pretty stark. Jeremiah is being attacked. Jesus predicts his suffering and death. And then the incredible timing and inappropriate petition of the mother of James and John. With these readings, we are invited to do a simple review of life and identify with the different characters that we meet today. First is Jeremiah, and identifying with him is easy, because most of us can think of those times in our life when we have been a victim, betrayed, rejected, hurt, maybe especially by those who are closest to us. Remember how we responded. More importantly, how we should have responded. Jeremiah, quote, speaks on their behalf before God. He forgives them. In our painful moments and the aftermath, how forgiving were we? And I always balance the need to forgive others with the challenge in asking for forgiveness as well. A balance we can certainly review during this Lent. We can imagine also how Jesus, predicting the suffering and death, his suffering and death, was so devastating to the apostles. So much so they missed or didn't quite get his mentioning about rising from the dead. Every bad day of our life, we might want to think about the suffering and death of Jesus. Great joy and great suffering is part of the human condition, but it is the resurrection part that gives us hope. Are we a person of hope? That's another good life review we might want to think about as well. And then moving to the interaction of the mother and her sons with Jesus, petitioning for a special place in the kingdom. It's really kind of hard to get our heads around it, isn't it? I mean, Jesus says, I want to let you know how terrible and awful my life is about to become. I'm going to suffer, I'm going to die, and ultimately rise. Gee, that's really terrible, they respond. By the way, when everything else works out, can these sons of mine be sitting at your right and your left? Wow, it's like they missed it. So let's remember the times today that we missed the point, or responded maybe too quickly, or maybe inappropriately. And finally, apart from the challenge and response that Jesus gives to them, it's easy to identify with the apostles. They were not happy. Would we have been the same? Which leads our review of life today to its final reflection on the journey of our lives, not just during Lent, but every day. It reminds us of the moral question we should answer when we're being tempted. It's not a question of what should I do. We can rationalize that away easily. It's a question of who do I want to be? And Jesus today says it best. Whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant. Whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave. Just so the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for the many. So happy review of life, and happy Lent.